What's up? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and I got one for you. This is the Magene crank base, well, spider base power meter. Oh my goodness, I am so freaking excited about this power meter. This thing has so many features built into it, and I'm just going to talk about it. There's so much stuff about this that really had my attention that I just had to get one. So real quick, to give you my relationship with Magene, I do not have a relationship with them. This is a product that I bought with my own money. Nobody sent me nothing. Nothing's for free. So I'm just telling you my thoughts on this, right? So I'm going to tell you why I went with this. For the number one reason why I went with this is because of the cost and because of the reviews. There are a lot of people that I know that are running this power meter and they love it. And the cost, right? This cost about 300 bucks. You get the spider base power meter and you get the crank arms. That's crazy. So the power meters that I have, I probably got like 40s, right? I personally like the Cork, the D4 power meter. That's what I really like. This is my setup, but it's very, very pricey. To get into a setup like this, just the spider is about 400 bucks. And then you need crank arms. And I usually go with the Cork crank arms. And the crank arms usually about like 200, 215 bucks. And then you got to buy the chain ring. So just minus the chain rings, just for the spider and the crank arm, it's about $600, man, to get into this. And that's kind of pricey. For the cost of one of these, you can get two of these, two spiders, two crank arms for 600 bucks to be out the door. So before I start talking more about this, let's get this thing open and kind of show you what's going on with this, right? The packaging is very, very nice. I like, oh my goodness, this is a good looking power meter. This is sexy. You got some manuals with some verbiage in there talking to you about how to assemble this thing. And these are the crank arms. They look good, man. I'm not even going to front. They look really, really good. Now, check this out, right? I got the 167.5 crank length. And that's another thing that had my interest with this, because I normally ride a 170 crank on my road bikes, and then on my TT bike, I ride a 165. Now, I do have a road bike right now that has a 165 on there, and I've been kind of playing with that. And I'm kind of not sure if I like it or not on the road bike. But the good in between is that 167.5. So I was like, let me get a crank that has that option on there. So that's another reason why I went with this. And it looks really good. And it has a standard Shimano Spindle, that 24. So it's very, very easy to swap this out for if you got a Shimano crank. It is a direct replacement. You don't got to do nothing special. Another thing that I like about this power meter, it is rechargeable. Look at this thing. You got your little charging port right there. That thing looks good, man. With the gloss black, it looks really good. I like this little reflective color that's on here. This is a good looking power meter, man. Oh, man. I really, really, really like this thing. I'm going to weigh some of these things too, like the crank arms and the spider, so you can kind of get an idea what the weight is. But let's go through here and look at some more stuff. This is probably like the... Okay, I know what that's for. I'll talk about that in a minute. You got your charging cable. What else is in here? Something else is in here. This is probably some chain ring bolts is what I'm assuming. Yes, it is. That's what it is. So when you attach your chain ring, these are the chain ring bolts. And this is, on the Shimano cranks, once you put your crank inside, this is that end cap. Now that's something that's pretty dope too, because usually on the Shimano ones, it's kind of like a plastic. This is kind of more like an aluminum or like a metal type that goes on here for that end cap. So I definitely like that. And then also on the side of here, this is a hex instead of like the Shimano. It's got like that star. And I don't really like the star myself, but this is better with the hex. I'm feeling that, right? So let me get some of this stuff out the way. We'll get this box out the way so I can kind of show you some more. I'm dropping stuff all over the place, man. But like I said, I'm super excited to get this on the bike and see what it's about, right? So when you are putting this crank together, you're going to have your spider, right? You're going to slide it onto the crank, and then you got this lock ring that goes on the back. Now, when you are putting this lock ring on, it does not, it comes with a piece to attach it, this piece right here. And this will let you torque down that lock ring, but it does not come with a tool so you can use this piece. Now, I have a tool right here, and I want to say this tool was like 20 bucks or so on Amazon. I will put a link on there so that way you can have it, but you need this tool. That way this insert can go inside, and then you can crank your spider down, crank your crank down to the spider and when you're setting things up, right? So let's get some weights real quick and kind of look at how much stuff weighs, just to give you an idea, right? So we got our scale going, change the unit to grams. For the crank arms, this is a 167 with the lock ring. It is 506 grams. Kind of heavy. I wasn't expecting it to be light, so I'm good with that. Well, you know what? I take that back. You got the crank arms, the lock ring, and you got the other, the end cap that goes on there too. 518 grams. Kind of heavy, but it's not a weight thing. I just wanted a nice little spider-based power meter. Now, the power meter itself, 126 grams. Now that's good. I don't remember specifically how much the D4 weighs. Man, I want to say it was about the same. The D4 may be slightly lighter. It might have been like in the 1 teens or something like that. But for 126 for the spider, that's not bad. And one of the things that I really, really like about this, it is rechargeable. Even though the regular 2032 battery that goes in the D4, it lasts for freaking ever, man. I rarely have an issue with it dying or anything like that. But it's just nice to know that I don't have to buy any batteries. I can just charge it up and it's good to go. Another thing that I really like about this spider base power meter is the options that you have for chain rings, right? The bolt pattern I got is the 110 BCD. In my mind, that is the best bolt pattern for chain ring configuration ever because there's just so many options. It is endless. You can run 105 rings. You can run Ultegra rings. I like DuraAce rings, so you can just put the DuraAce rings right on there. One of the things that the Spider Magene has over the D4 is just the options. Now, both of these have a 110 BCD bolt pattern, but you got more options with the Magene because of how it's designed, and I'm going to explain that. When you were looking at the cork or a Shimano base, it has these curvatures that's in here. And that kind of affects what type of chain rings that you have. Now, even if you're using, like this is a DuraAce chain ring, you'll see that these curvatures are in here. They don't affect going onto this spider because this is just round all the way. So you can use any chain ring with this, but you can't use any 110 chain ring with this setup. Now I'm gonna show you some other chain rings, right? So I got this super sexy 56 tooth narrow wide chain ring. This is my TT chain ring, right? I really like this chain ring. Now, if you look at this, it has some of the curvatures in there, right? This will work on the D4 with no issues. Perfect. It will also work on the Magene because there's nothing that's stopping it from going on there. It's going to go on there perfect, right? Now, check this out. I got this other sexy chain ring. Oh, my goodness. This is a 52 narrow wide skeletonized oval chain ring. I really like this chain ring. I have not used this chain ring yet because I cannot use it on the D4 crank. So if you look at this D4 crank, right? For one, this chain ring does not have those curvature cutouts. So it will not work on here because that is part of the spider, is those curvatures. Also, On the back of this chain ring, it's just a solid circle. When you were putting solid circle chain rings on the D4, you got this battery tray that's attached to the spider that bumps out. It does not go on there. Now, if you look at this, my bad. If you look at this other chain ring, you'll see that on the back side of it, it's notched. A chain ring like this that has a notch, this will go around that battery tray and it'll work. But if you look at this one, it does not have a notch, so it will not fit around that battery tray. But guess what? Since the Magene power meter is just a solid circle, it can go on there. No issues. That's what I really, really like about this Magene, is that it's endless for the type of chain rings you can use. As long as it's got that 110 BCD, you can use any chain ring on there. You're not going to have any issues with it. And that's just super dope. And it's just endless for the options that you have. I'm over here in this chain ring box. I want to show you another one. So I got a new 12-speed chain ring, right? So when I'm showing you this, this is for an 11-speed or a 12-speed. This can work for anything, right? Same thing with this one. 11-speed or 12-speed. This is a 12-speed. This is a 12-speed DuraAce 52 chain ring, right? Like I said, you got the curvature that's in here. And then, as you know, this pin that are on these chain rings, this goes on behind the crank arm. But when you are putting this on here, let me see which way this goes. It does not matter which way you put it on, because it's gonna work. All the curvature that's on the chain ring, it does not matter, because the Magene power meter is just round. And in my opinion, this gloss black on the power meter with the gloss black 12-speed DuraAce chain ring, that is a sexy combination. Oh my goodness. I really, really like this, right? So I think initially, because I'm initially putting this power meter on my road bike to kind of do some testing with it, I'm going to go with a 2x setup, and I'll be running the 52 DuraAce 12-speed chain rings. I got Ultegra 12-speed on the majority of my bikes. And I also plan on doing some testing with this on my TT bike. And when I throw it on my TT bike, I think I'm probably either going to go with, I ain't riding this 56, man. It's a beast right now, but I'll probably go with the 52 narrow wide. Because I have not, I mean, not the narrow wide oval. I have not ridden an oval chain ring on my TT bike yet. I have a bike set up right now that's a 1x road bike, and I'm using an oval, and I've been liking it. It's been pretty dope. So this is just kind of showing you what this power meter looks like, and kind of showing you different options and different configurations. I really think you got all the options with this, man. And for the price and the cost of entry, I don't know, man. This might put my D4s out of business. And I really like things that are modular, because you can have this on a certain bike and be running a 2x, and then let's say you build a time trial bike, or you just want to go 1x, you have the options to do that. And then also with that popular 110 BCD, you can't go wrong as far as like having different options for different type of chain rings that you want to run. It is endless. You are not limited to any of that. And I just think that's really, really dope, man. I don't like stuff that is like very proprietary and you're kind of locked into a certain system. That's not really my cup of tea. I like modular stuff because I'm always building bikes. I'm always trying like something different. So this just really gives you the option to try something different. And I just kind of like hand tighten this just so you can kind of see what it looks like on there. And matter of fact, let me just slide this chain ring on here so you can kind of see what this looks like. But look at this, man. Tell me that is not a sexy looking power meter crank setup. Oh my goodness. Wow. This looks good. So the Magene Spider base power meter with crank, man, I'm telling you, check them out. You can get these on like Pan Podium. I seen them on AliExpress. There's a couple different places you can get them from. I have not seen them more than $300, but for $300, Spider base power meter, rechargeable battery, 110 BCD, and you can get the crank arm length that you want. This is a win-win scenario. You got to check it out. That's all I got for you. It's your boy, Mr. Rob Armstrong.